Welcome, everyone, to this session of our Introduction to Artificial Intelligence webinar series. Um, Before we dive in, I want to make this interactive. Tell us in the chat where you're joining us from today. Drop your city, your country, or even just an emoji. And just for fun, type Kenya if you're joining from Kenya, or if you're joining from anywhere else in the world. This series was created with a very, very clear purpose. We want to empower professionals and organizations to understand, adopt, and thrive in the age of AI. We know that AI sometimes feels overwhelming, like a buzzword or even a threat. But the reality is that AI is just a partner, it's a catalyst for what's possible. And the more literacy and confidence we can build around AI, the more opportunities we unlock for individuals, businesses, and society at large. So, over the course of today's session, we'll explore where AI has come from, why it matters right now, and most importantly, how you can begin your own AI journey in a way that is practical and empowering. And here's a quick incentive to stay with us until the very end. So, everyone who completes the full session will get access to our AI marketing starter pack. So, that includes the webinar recording, so you can revisit and share the lessons anytime, bonus cheat sheets and prompts where you can learn immediately. So, whether you're here as a marketer, a business leader, a student, or just someone curious about the future of work, you're in the right place. This is about making marketing accessible, actionable, and relevant for you. All right, let's get started. Let's talk about the ecosystem we've built around AI education. So, the first is obviously what we are doing right now. We want to be running our introduction to AI monthly classes. So these are foundational sessions designed to build AI literacy at all professional level, whether you're a beginner or advanced practitioner. So not just about creating inspirational webinars. We want to create a comprehensive learning journey that supports professionals and organizations at every stage, from just a beginner getting started to an advanced practitioner looking to scale AI in your organization. So this ecosystem has four interconnected parts. Um, One is the intro to AI classes. Two is the steps. So, how do you now move to the next steps? Three is the podcast that we will be launching. And then four is blueprints and practical frameworks. And so, I want to talk about a very important date in AI, and that was in November 30th, 2022, where everything changed. So ChatGPT got released, and this was a moment that was remembered as the inflection point when it comes to AI adoption. So before that, um, AI was largely a domain of technical people. It was the domain of people who worked at Google, researchers, highly technical experts. For the rest of us, this was something that we saw, and so when ChatGPT released, it made AI very simple because it basically through a conversational interface, you could interact and get outputs with an AI model, which was a big, big thing. And then after November 30th, this really blew and become widespread. And so what ChatGPT made different was not just the underlying technology, it was the interface. So, for the first time, anyone with a computer, not just engineers, could ask a question in plain English and get a coherent answer back. And so that was profound. So, you could generate content, you could brainstorm, bounce off ideas with an intelligent system. That anyone could be able to do that. So AI became a collaborator, not just a technical tool. And so that's what we call the democratization of AI. So it was no longer locked in labs. it was reserved for experts. It was suddenly accessible to every professional, every student, every curious mind with an internet connection. But this democratization came as a shock. So, despite years of research and predictions around where we are going, no one expected this moment. And Sam Altman in 2022 wrote a paper that he called Moore's Law for Everything, that envisioned a time where machines will have human like reasoning. And the broader world was not prepared for this. So, leaders in government and education essentially were caught off guard. All of a sudden, what do I do when my student can do an MBA paper? Something that will take 3 years now, it could take 2 days. People never knew. I mean, just the possibility of plagiarism, quote unquote. So overnight, the conversation shifted. AI was no longer a futuristic possibility. It was here. It was in our browsers, in our workflows, and in our lives. And it was not standing still. It was rapidly evolving, set in motion the wave of adoption and disruption that we're experiencing now. Now, if you want to understand just how disruptive this was, look at the AI adoption curve. Facebook took 4.5 years, Instagram 2.5, TikTok 9 months, which then was the fastest growing app in history. Took 9 months to go to 100 million years. But no technology in history has been adopted this fast. Not electricity, not the internet, not the smartphones, nothing. ChatGPT took 2 months to reach 100 million users. That speed is why leaders in business and government felt like they were blindsided. So suddenly the ground shifted under their feet before they had time to react. So this was a fundamental lesson, and indeed still is for all of us, that AI is not coming slowly. It's moving already here. It's moving at a pace unlike anything you've ever seen before. So first I want to talk about myself. My name is Kevin Omondi. I'm managing partner OmniClick. I've been in this space for over 25 years now, the digital marketing and AI space. So sometime in 2018, we founded OmniClick, which then ran as a digital agency. Um, and then 2020, we started exploring AI in its latent phase. So we were talking about marketing automation, automating workflows. And then 2022, we started saying, hey, this AI thing is going to be big. So when we saw what ChatGPT could do, we said we're going to be an AI native company, launched the AI business in 2023. This year, we launched our first cohort for our AI for marketing program. So we've been growing since then. And our ecosystem includes obviously our agency, which is now moving to more of an innovation studio, though still doing some digital work, the AI Business Institute, and the programs, and of course, the thought leadership through playbooks, events, and anything else that can demystify AI. So, our North Star is clear. We want to accelerate possibility by reinventing how companies innovate, build, and grow with AI. So here's a number that should stop us in our tracks and should shock you. 80%. 80% of all knowledge work, the emails, the report, the analysis, you name it, will be AI assisted. And when something gets AI assisted, which means that either number one, you are freeing up the time of the person doing it, or number two, that person becomes redundant. And so that means that every knowledge worker, whether you're a marketer, you're a consultant, you're a manager, HR professional, a lawyer, will soon have an AI collaborator sitting alongside them, or sometimes AI doing something that they do in a much better way. So, the big question you might want to ask is, will you be ready to work with it? Or will you risk being outpaced by those who are using AI? And the other day, I saw um, an article in the Free Press. Okay, and this is a major publication, and it was saying, um, what AI is doing to the knowledge economy. So, this article, The Consulting Crash is Coming, was a powerful illustration of how AI is reshaping the foundation of the knowledge economy. So, here's the context. For decades, consulting firms, the big five, whether it's Accenture or BCG or McKinsey or Deloitte, were the pinnacle of knowledge work, highly paid experts packaging analysis, insights, and strategies for clients. Um, but AI came and exposed the fragility of that model because um, this was an economy that people once thought was safe from automation, but now it's been unbundled task by task. Something that you required a research agency to do for you. Right now, AI is basically taking over that. Research and analysis that could be done faster and cheaper and often better by AI. Report writing, slide creation, AI could generate that within minutes, not weeks. Frameworks and playbooks, those are accessible to anyone with the right AI tools. So that I mean the end of consulting, but it does mean the end of consulting as we know it. And about last week, um, I saw, I think it's Accenture, they say they're going to be letting go of about 11,000. Now, do your math. 11,000 from a Kenyan context, those are many, many jobs. Now, when you let go of 11,000 people, possibly earning more than $2,000 and above, that's a big, big issue. Okay, so clients don't need any armies of junior analysts to crunch data when AI can deliver those insights. Um, so the premium now shifts to judgment, creativity, trust, what you call human skills that AI cannot replicate. And so that consulting crash is just a microcosm of a bigger story. And what it is that the rules for the knowledge economy are being rewritten. Every role that relies on information analysis or communication is being and will be redefined. And so that is the thing. And let me give you some numbers. The US alone has about 100 million knowledge workers. So these are individuals who use computers to think, create, communicate in whatever way. Um, and so within 1 to 2 years, like I mentioned, a lot of 80% of that work, obviously, AI will take over. Now, 80% AI assisted does not mean AI fully does it, and that's a big but, because AI learns. If I assist Kevin or Charles in this task, I am learning, which means in future I can build machine learning into it and be able to do a huge chunk of that task. So AI is on and it's embedded. And if you think about it right now, all the tools you use from Microsoft Office uh, to Microsoft Excel to Google Worksheets um, has AI integrated in one form or another. But you might say this is a global issue. I'm in Kenya, I'm in Africa. This does not affect me. Not quite. So this is not just a Western story, guys. Um, Africa is rapidly becoming one of the most active AI frontiers. Kenya is number one country in the world for ChatGPT usage per capita. Um, 80% of Kenyans, as you are in informal employment. Informal meaning that um, a huge chunk of people, if they're not doing farming, a lot of what they're doing is what I would call knowledge work, which means that AI is a potential bridge for millions excluded from formal systems. By 2030, 75% of Africa's population will be under 35. So that represents about 42% of the world's youth. Now, a generation that is already turning to AI as a daily assistant. And if you think about, if you have kids, most likely they're using AI for their homework. So more than 40% of Africa's institutions are already um, experimenting with AI. So the numbers are there. That means if you don't need to actively adopt AI to experience it, as it were. You're already engaging with AI as you drive, as you do your work, as you use Google and many other things. AI is being embedded into a lot of our software. So you've had the term AI fast, which is the idea that whenever you face a challenge, you can ask, can AI solve this better? Or Um, you know, and that term can feel intimidating, okay, job threatening, often tech driven. So when you hear organizations, we becoming AI fast, you ask, what does that mean? But we developed a term that is a bit more sensible, what you call AI efficient, where you are blending efficiency with intelligence. So forget about that long-winded technical stuff that speaks about AI as stuff that's out there. AI efficient is more like it. It's where AI augments you, it streamlines your work, it empowers you, and so on and so forth. So that means that um, you can use AI. So before I proceed, also as I continue, I want to unpack AI for those of you who are not fairly technical, because there are 4 or 5 terms that you keep on hearing on a regular basis. So I want to unpack those in very, very layman terms. What does it mean? Okay. So the first time I want to talk about is machine learning, and machine learning is really the foundation of AI as we know it. So um, in very, very simple terms, machine learning essentially is learning from data to make predictions. Okay. And it's very simple things like Spotify predicting your next favorite song. If it sees you playing a lot of reggae, um, it can recommend reggae music. So it can recommend and look at your playing activities. And when you load it the next time, you'll see a lot of reggae or classical or African music. Uh, or Gmail detecting spam, or Netflix recommending movies based on what you watch. That, in a very, very simple terms, ladies and gentlemen, is machine learning. So you don't have to complicate it. Key point: machine learning doesn't think or reason. It's statistical pattern recognition. And um, to think about it, so it in an organization, it could look at your sales data and say, this is this is the kind of sales you are likely to make this quarter in 2026. So it can help make some decisions and make your work easier. The other thing is deep learning. So this was a big leap around 2011, and this is where the game changed. Okay. And so what happened is that this uses what I'll call multi-layered neural network. So essentially, it was inspired by the human brain and how it processes information. So what deep learning did is enable breakthroughs in things like image recognition. So machines started becoming smart. If you took a photo, it could tell that this is a photo of a leaf or a tree or a cat. Okay, so it started recognizing faces, handwriting, speech. So you started seeing a lot of that with things like Siri, Alexa, Google. And why did that matter? Um, Tasks that required handcrafted features by human engineers now could be learned directly by the model. And so it became a very, very exciting thing to think about. The third one is generative AI, which is really where a lot of us have engaged with and have been seeing a lot of as we move on. So, generative AI is really the breakthrough that truly captured everyone's attention. So, unlike other forms of AI that were about predicting, analyzing, generative models could now help us create. You can write text, you can compose music, you can design images, you can generate videos, photos, synthetic voices, software code, name it. So, what made generative AI very powerful is that AI moved from just being an analyzer to crunching numbers. um, AI initially, as I mentioned earlier, is used to be about looking at these patterns, pattern recognition, and making models. But now AI started being a creative and generative partner. And that's why generative AI feels so different. So, for the first time in history, we have a technology that doesn't just process information but helps us co-create. So if you're a marketer, you can draft campaigns, a teacher can prepare lesson materials, a designer can create visuals, and AI accelerates that creative process in ways that were unimaginable um, 5 years ago. By the way, if you have questions, feel free to put them on the chat, and we love to learn from you. So if you have questions, please look at that, and then we can look at it and see what are your thoughts and everything else about that. So when you look at generative AI, um, it was just about, like I mentioned others, it's about creation. So the first era was about analyzing data. The era of generative AI is about supercharging our creativity, your creativity. So tools like ChatGPT, Midjourney, Runway, GitHub Copilot, we can now generate in minutes what used to take hours, days, or even weeks. So think about it. Now you can do a blog, you can create a Superman image, and now I can even animate this video. I can create a video series. This is a younger, slightly younger version of me. So you can create ad creatives. AI can do that. You can do a video script, custom image. Or even work in code. So this shift effectively turned every professional into a superpower creator. And you don't have to start from a blank page anymore. If I have this brief I need to work on, AI gives us the first draft, fresh ideas, creative assets, and we step in with strategy, refinement, and judgment. So the real power of generative AI is not just no longer became about automation, it became about augmentation. It's about giving humans creative superpowers. Now, let's dive into one of the most important breakthroughs in modern AI, okay? Large language models. Large language models at a simple level are massive models trained on trillions of words. Everything, books, websites, research papers, website source code. So, what made large language models powerful was the ability to perform and do sophisticated next word prediction. Okay, so it sounds simple, but given a sentence, a model then predict what word should come next. But when you repeat that process millions of times per second across enormous training data, you get something extraordinary. Systems that can write essays, summarize reports, translate languages, code software, even reason through complex problems. And some of the best known examples, obviously, of LLMs are Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, and so on. So these are not niche tools; they are the engines behind every other assistant or copilot you use daily. So if you are using most Microsoft Copilot, most likely you have ChatGPT under it. If you are using Gemini, you have you have Gemini, and if you're using image generation, you also have Gemini. So the key takeaway is that LLMs are not just text generators; they are becoming the foundation layer for AI. And then finally, I want to talk about something in very simple terms, what you call the breakthrough, and these were called transformers. So before 2017, what used to happen is that AI models were impressive, but they struggled with scaling. So they processed information sequentially, okay, one word at a time, which made training slow and limited in the ability to capture long range context. Then the transformer architecture became quite popular, and it was actually invented by Google. Do you know that Google are the guys who actually came with LLMs? And actually, when you think about it, when ChatGPT came out, it caught Google by surprise. That Google had to go back to the drawing board and say, "There's no way we're going to get flat-footed with this AI game." And so, what transformers do differently is twofold. One, they do something called parallel processing. So instead of reading words one after another, they can look at an entire sentence, an entire paragraph or data set at once. And so that makes training exponentially faster and more efficient. So they don't treat every word equally. They're also smart. They pay attention to relevant words in context, and and because of that, they can generate more coherent and human-like languages. Okay, so this architecture is really the foundation of modern large language models like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and without transformers, there would not be no generative AI boom. And so when you think about it, when you're looking at generative AI, you have layer one, which is a foundation model builder. So this is the infrastructure. Layer two, which is the platforms and families. And then layer three is the tools and apps. So when you look at that layer, you have your models, the platform. So Microsoft Copilot, Meta, Llama, and then the tools is Grammarly and any other tool that you can think of. And so yeah. So from that, then you have your AI chat, you have generative AI agents, integrated AI workflows, and then autonomous AI systems. So that is a journey we're gonna start seeing. So you might want to ask, where is AI headed? Let's look ahead. So a number of six breakthroughs I want to talk about. Number one, reasoning models. And the first big leap is reasoning models like GPT-5 or Gemini 2.5 Pro. That they don't just predict and look at patterns of words. They start to reason through problems step by step. So they start developing problem solving capacity. Think of it as moving from a smart autocomplete to an actual problem solver. So this becomes, then AI starts becoming a management tool. If you have a business problem, AI can kind of give you options. So instead of just giving you an answer, it can break down the logic, it can look at options, it can explain why. And so AI starts being more reliable for what I call business critical tasks like research, like strategy, financial modeling. The other thing is persistent memory. What does that mean? AI now, from your whole chat conversation, AI can look at context. It can look at what you have been chatting with it like 3 years or 2 weeks ago, and and understand. So it can remember past interactions for continuity. If you've used AI in the past, that used to be a challenge. After a while, it will forget what were you feeding it. Um, the third is multimodality. Okay. And in simple terms, is now if you look at a lot of your AI models, like when ChatGPT started, it used to just be able about generating text and answers. Now it can do images. Google is now grown with Gemini, can now do videos, it can do photos, it can do images, it can do text, it can do documents. Okay. So that's we're gonna see a lot of that. Okay. And so you had AI in the past locked in silos. You needed this tool to generate images. You needed this for response. Now you see in unified models. And the next one is AI agents. I think this is an exciting development. Now, let me explain this in very layman terms. An AI agent look is just an AI employee. Okay, it's an AI employee that you give a task that you can plan. You can plan, uh, execute tasks, and then it can learn from that. So instead of just responding to chats, agents can take action. It can check your email, it can browse the web, it can schedule meetings, it can run analysis, it can launch campaigns and analyze those brand campaigns. So think of it as some semi-autonomous people where you approve each step and then others will move even towards independence. So AI agents will be like a digital employee, and this is the where it gets scary or exciting depending on where you're looking at it. Scary if you're working in an office and they're looking at efficiency. um, AI agents could be where they could go. If you're an entrepreneur, this is exciting. You can scale your business with the same team and do much more. And then, so AI can run market research, it can study, it can draft a strategy and everything. Next one is voice interfaces. And as we move on, we're gonna start seeing you interacting with AI a lot on your phone. Um, so as you're walking, you can talk with AI, and I love this. I use this a lot. I use Gemini a lot. So I turn on Gemini mode, and I am able to brainstorm and have a conversation even as you're running, as you're chatting. Actually, they say this is gonna be the bigger interface. These last two, conversational AI and vision and universal agents. Okay, models that don't just read and listen; they can see. So that's why you're seeing. If you've noticed, you're seeing a lot of smart binocular, smart goggles being launched. It's because of that model that you're looking at. So this statement might sound provocative, but it's true. Every day you're interacting with the dumbest AI you'll ever use. So why do we say that? Because the AI system available today, whether it's ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Copilot, are impressive, but they're just the first generation of what's coming. So think about this: we in the early days of the internet or smartphones, the first versions look grounded, they look groundbreaking, but at the time, but in hindsight, it's not comparable to what's happening. So that's what's going to happen with AI. What's feeling cutting edge now, text generation, reasoning, image creation, will be considered basic functionality. This month, we expect Google to release Gemini version 3.0, and God knows what's gonna come out with that. Okay. Now, this is a reality check that I want you to think about. 30% of global work hours could be automated by 2030. Now, this is a slightly old statistic. I feel that it could be more. I feel that this could be slightly more, and it could be much faster. So AI is not just another wave of technology. It's a tsunami that's rewriting how we work, and it's gonna move far faster than most people think. McKinsey, these are data from McKinsey, which itself is affected by AI, says that nearly one third of global work hours will be automated. And that's not factory work, guys. This is knowledge work, the emails, the reports, the analysis that many of us do on a daily basis. And so these stakes are enormous. Um, that means even in Africa, we'll need to reskill or transition roles. And they're saying in Africa, talking about 375 million workers are staring at a change that they've never really looked at. And that's more than the entire US population. So the truth is that AI will not take your job. And I think you've heard this, but someone who knows how to use AI will. And so because of that, AI is coming at a large scale, is coming at a large speed. And you might say that, hey, I have a senior job at a company, I'm a marketing manager, I'm a chief operating officer, I'm a CFO. This won't affect me. Quite the contrary, okay? Because many times people believe that AI and automation affects manual jobs, factory workers, drivers, routine labor, robots on assembly lines, machines doing repetitive physical work. But here's a surprise. AI is no longer just about machines replacing muscle. It's coming for knowledge work, the work that happens in laptops, in offices, in emails, in reports, in meetings. And that's where the disruption is sharpest. Why? Uh, because knowledge work represents majority of today's workforce. Lawyers, marketers, accountants, analysts, consultants, even teachers, all of them spend days processing information, and AI is designed to process information at scale faster and cheaper than any human being can. So the question is not just about whether factories will need fewer workers. The real question is what happens when the very jobs we thought were safe, the jobs of the educated, the professional, the desk based worker, are suddenly exposed to automation. And that's the wake up call this moment brings for all of us. AI is not knocking on the factory door anymore, it's already sitting at the desk next to you. And like I said, 70-80% of your tasks AI will be able to automate: data analysis, report generation, email creation, content strategy. And so you're going to start seeing routine tasks being automated. And so what remains will be uniquely human skills. And let me share some numbers here for you about the industry disruption so that you understand what I'm talking about. In marketing and communication, they're saying up to 70% of daily tasks, from drafting emails to producing content, are automatable. Legal, 62%. Finance, accounting, 57%. Education and training, 52%. HR and recruiting, 50%. Healthcare, 47%. Consulting and advisory, 45%. Now, the thing about consulting and advisory is that it falls around the other categories as well, because typically if you're looking at consulting, you consult on marketing, legal, finance. So that itself is being affected by AI. So every single of one of us is in the impact zone, ladies and gentlemen. So a question we all face is, will AI replace me or will it empower me? And I believe in thinking around the latter. How can AI empower me to ride this wave, this change? I actually, when I think about it, we are living in very exciting times. So, how you begin your AI journey? I think you start small, you identify pain points, you experiment, and you build momentum. And like they say, the best way to learn AI is to start using AI. And I know we are all using AI in our own little way. So it's little steps and experimentation. And one approach of using AI that I love is problem-based approach. So problem-based approach is where I identify I have this problem, and then I ask, can AI help me solve this matter? And then I prepare the problem with value, and then I prioritize the impact. And let me explain how you do that. So let's say you're missing your sales goals. We missed our sales qualified lead goal for third straight quarter, impacting pipeline. So what's the value? Want to unlock pipeline revenue. So if you deal with that, so you can start working from that and feed your AI model and feed your data and say, this is what I'm dealing with, and AI can help you with that. Second one is slow customer support. So you're looking at your response time, and then you can look at what's the value. You want to reduce our response time by 50%, and those numbers. And then you can build and leverage just ChatGPT or Gemini and say, how can we deal with this problem? This is where we are, this is our data. Or data entry. And so I love the problem approached, because many times as a person, as an individual, as a leader, um, you could work with this and get a lot of solutions and options just by looking at AI. Another one is what I call use case approach. And the use case approach is where you break work into tasks, then apply AI where it fits best. So instead of looking at AI at the level of the entire department, you can break down work into its smallest units. Every role really is just a bundle of tasks at the end of the day. So from there, you ask which tasks are the best fit for AI. Okay. Is it data driven tasks? Is it generative tasks? Is it repetitive tasks? Um, and so on and so forth. And then you look for what I call high exposure tasks, and then you look for quick wins. And then AI can help you with that. E.g., in your day, things like email. I have AI agents that go through my email. They summarize newsletters. They tell me what's interesting. And then, actually, when you think about it, I use AI a lot. Even preparing for this webinar, I used AI based on emails and everything I read. I can use AI to analyze market trends. AI can now, at a grander level, look at predictive equipment maintenance. It can generate marketing copy. Whichever we look at it, that. Then the other one is role-based approach. So you look at AI from role. So what can AI help with? Marketing, with sales, with customer service, with finance, with education. So for each role, you start looking and mapping. What are the then you map and ask which is the low-hanging fruit in this area. Another one is workflow. So workflow approach is so instead of looking at AI from just a task, you look at AI from customer onboarding. And this one is powerful because you look at how can we use AI to onboard our customers, to answer questions, to auto-generate welcome emails, to marketing campaigns, to finance operations, to recruitment process. You can pretty much use AI for that. And then to get started, I would look at some few experiments. Okay, you don't need complex projects. You just ask readily tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot. Distill a 10-page report, long email thread, or meeting transcript into key takeaways, saving valuable time. That is one thing. And I hope all of you in this webinar, I hope you're all using the tools for meeting notes that come with Gemini and even Microsoft Copilot. You can use AI to brainstorm, you can have it to create an outline, and so on and so forth. So, when you're looking at your AI maturity, there's normally 5 stages. First is awareness, where you learn the basics of AI concepts, and then with training, then you look at adoption, where you start embedding AI, and then you scale, and then you look at AI transformation, um, and so on and so forth. So, when you're looking at AI, I want you to start looking therefore at AI as a partner. And this is really where you can really, really shine with AI. How can AI be a partner where there are things machines can do better, and then there are things as a human being, empathy, creativity, problem solving, whichever you look at it, problem solving, human beings are still with it. So things like creativity, empathy, judgment, big picture. Those are things that humans will still be able to do. On the right, you have things like pattern recognition, repetitive tasks, cleaning up huge chunks of data, analyzing that data. You want to look at that. So when you're looking at growing in AI, therefore, I will start with understanding what AI is. So you start on building foundational knowledge, AI concepts, terminology, and considerations. Then you build now that knowledge through hands-on experiments, and then you now become proficient. And as we talk finally, is that the skill gap for AI is real. Um, so as demand for AI talent escalates, there's obviously, and this is why we started thinking about our institute, so there's a skill gap, and so there's demand, but there's a skill gap. The workforce is unprepared. There's a barrier, and there's competitiveness risk. So we acknowledge that, and that's why we built the AI Business Institute, where our mission is simple. We want to close the AI skills gap with structured, practical education. So it's not making just people aware of AI in theory, it's about making them proficient in using it for real world results. How do you do this? Structured learning with programs designed to equip individuals and teams with essential AI skills that deliver tangible value. So we keep real world focus. Everything in our curriculum is tied to practical business applications so that you can learn um, um, everything that you can apply immediately in your professional context. And we design those journeys in a tailored way. So our masterclass is in 8 modules that we are excited, and this is a second cohort we want to launch. So it's a very comprehensive. First, we look at the foundations of AI in marketing. Okay, what is AI, how it works, and why it matters for marketing professionals. Then we talk about prompt engineering for marketers. How can you craft effective prompts to generate consistent high results for marketers? We'll even talk about some tools that can help you make that better. We talk about how to use AI to understand customers. We talk about AI for content. How do you leverage AI for campaigns? How do you use AI for data? How do you become a data scientist? We'll run you through some very interesting stuff. There are some tools. We'll go through AI agents and automation. And then we talk about the future of AI in business and a bit of leadership as well. And so the value you get those modules, we give you workbooks, prompt libraries, you have a learning management system, exclusive community, we have AI marketing tips. And one more thing is that if you're interested in we also, this learning builds towards your CPD points for CIM. So it's a gateway to CIM certification, and we give you a certificate of completion, and all that for 45,000 shillings. But we are running a good group discount. So if you've attended this webinar, we are giving a special offer. So if you book before October 10th for 10,000 shillings, you can get a special offer for that. So if you're ready to secure your slot, those are my details. Let's chat online, and we be able to talk to you how you can move forward. So finally, I want to say that the human and AI future is already here. So AI is not a passing trend. It's a foundational shift in how the world works. So we face two choices: do nothing and risk falling behind, or accelerate AI literacy and thrive in the human AI future. So don't wait for the world to get smart around you. Take the next step, experiment, learn, and grow. And so thank you so much. Um, let's reinvent how your brand grows. And I hope to hear from you. The details I'll leave on the screen. So even as we end, you can get in touch with me and see how you can be part of that program. Thank you. And it's been a pleasure. Please stay connected, send an email, we'll update you, we'll have our newsletter and everything else around AI education that is coming. Thank you so much.